Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we are back with my December reading wrap up. These are all the books that I read in December. I read 9 books because I needed 9 books to reach my 100 book goal. So it's safe to say I read 100 books this year. This video is going up at the beginning of January. So technically last year as you're watching this, but for me right now it is the 28th of December. I've just finished the last book. So let's get into what I read this month to get to 100 books. I can't believe I've read 100 books this year when it's like my first year of really getting back into reading, not counting fanfics. Like, wow. So first of all, following on from November, I went on to Kingdom of the Cursed because I read Kingdom of the Wicked last month, but then fourth thing happened and this kind of got put on the back burner. So this book is one I rated 4 stars. I believe Kingdom of the Wicked I also rated 4 stars. I feel like obviously the last one ended on a bit of a cliffhanger, and then this one is like a completely, you feel like, I mean, you are quite literally in a complete different world than the last one. It was very different, but it's not a bad thing. I did really enjoy it, but I have to say it ended very suddenly. So obviously I ran the third book straight away because it literally, this one ends and then this one, it's like straight away pretty much. Well, there's like a quick prologue and then you're straight into how this one ends. So I recommend having this one handy if you're reading this one. Not that it's like a cliffhanger, it's just you want to continue the scene, absolutely. So yeah, Kingdom of the Fade, I rated this one 4.5 stars. It was just my favorite. It was the most action packed, the most was happening. Basically, anything, I don't want to like, the way it left me feeling was that everything I read in the Facebook, just completely disregarded. Nothing is real. That's how I felt reading this book. So yeah, it was really good. Loved Wrath. I have to say, I really, really did enjoy Wrath. As a love interest, as a demon, as a character, just loved Wrath. I read these, I thought these were young adult, and the young adult in terms of the fact that she is like 20 at the start of these books. This book is very smutty. They are so horny, it's not even funny. And there is smut. So I'm just putting that out there because I've seen someone say, oh, it's a YA, and I'm like, maybe not. But anyway, yeah. Did really enjoy this series, so I'm glad that these are now going to join the first book on my red shelf. Also, for some reason, Kingdom of the Cursed took me, like, no joke, 8 days to read. Don't know why. It really set me on I was worried for the rest of this month for being able to continue to actually manage to read 9 books. I've been I have to read 3 more books by the end of the year for the past week, and I somehow did it. But anyway, next I read King of Greed because I just felt like it was a really good segue. I rated this 4 stars. I read it all in one day. I did really enjoy it. It was a good palate cleanser. It was fun. Dominic groveling, very good. Very good. And I feel like I love how Dante and Kai, Dominic is moaning to them and being like, I just don't know what happened. And Dante and Kai dude, have you existed in the last few years? You're an arsehole. And I was so here for that. Okay. Kai is still my favourite man out of the King of Sin men. He's probably my least favourite, but I love Alessandra. Is that her name? Is it Alessandra? Yeah. I love Alessandra. I just, I felt for her. I was like, yeah, I would have left him too. I maybe wouldn't have even taken it back, to be honest. But he did grovel well, so yeah. It was fun. It was easy. It was nice, short. Like I say, I read it in one day. I actually listened to a lot of this on audiobook, because Spotify, hello. While I was playing Power Washing Simulator, not gonna lie. But yeah, I do recommend. I did enjoy. Next, I read Hopeless by Elsie Silver. I have been dying for this book, but also not wanting to read it because I don't want the Chestnut Springs series to end. The Chestnut Springs series is possibly my favourite series of the whole entire year. I tell everyone and their mum to read this series. I love this series. Again, binged it in a day. I basically binged it in one sitting, and I actually read the whole thing. I literally took a break to quickly eat and then go in the shower. But I basically sat down and read it from 4 o'clock until 10 o'clock. It was so good. Loads of people didn't enjoy this as much as they thought they were going to. They felt disappointed by it because they had these expectations. Why people don't learn to just not have expectations in books, I don't know, because it's always gonna ruin it for you. How you want it to be is not necessarily how it's gonna happen. So I didn't have any expectations at all. Obviously, the first book, when like you're meeting all of the brothers, Bo is a very different human than what he is in the fourth book. So obviously what I thought his book was going to be when I read the first one, that those thoughts changed as soon as he went through what he went through in book like 3 and 4. So I already knew it wasn't going to be fun-loving Bo that he was, that we were getting. I loved him though, and I rated this 5 stars. Okay, listen, was the age gap slightly a bit much for me? Yes, but I'm ignoring that. Because it's the Chestnut Spring series and I love it. So yeah, I do understand why some people didn't like the book, like I say, age gap wise, and just a couple of things that kind of happened or were said or whatever. But I enjoyed the writing, I loved the banter, and it was fun. I was giggling, kicking, screaming. It was 5 stars. Okay, I had the 5-star feeling. So, but yeah, I will say about the age gap, it's only because it's like mentioned that you really like notice it. But to be honest, Bailey's been through so much that her character is obviously written older. She's very independent and she's very like, she's definitely older than her years because she's just had to like age quicker because everything she's been through. So I think because of that, you don't notice the age gap in her character. It's only really when it's mentioned that you're like, oh yeah, there's like a big age gap here, but it could be worse. Okay, next I read Window Shopping. I don't know why this took me literally 4 days to read. It is so small. It is like not even 250 pages, or it's just about 250 pages. Oh, 248. I don't know why this took me so long to read. I think it was because I was just so busy when I started trying to read this that it just didn't happen very quickly. So it took me a while to get into it. I did start to enjoy it, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I rated it 3 stars. It was very insta-lovey. Some of the smut was a little bit cringe, not gonna lie, just a little bit. But it was very like fun. It wasn't serious. My one real criticism is especially the first 2 chapters, they are long. Like I swear the first chapter was legit like, how many pages was it? The first chapter alone was 12 pages. That's too long in my opinion. So that made it feel like it was taking forever to read as well, which didn't help. But yeah, 3 stars. It was fun. It was a Christmas read at the end of the day, so. Then I read Wreck the Halls by Tessa Bailey, also. This one I liked a lot more. I rated it 4 stars, I believe. Yeah, 4 stars. I feel like the ending was very abrupt. It just kind of suddenly, it's the end. You know? So I was kind of expecting more, not more to happen, but just that it to be like dragged out a little bit more. Or like a little bit more of like a after sort of timeline. I don't know. The singing part was cringe. Okay, but that was the only real part I properly cringed at, was the singing. I'm not gonna lie. That, and his kink, I get it, but I don't. To be honest, if you read this or if you have read this, you will understand what I mean. The biggest criticism a lot of people had for this is the fact that their names are Beat and Melody. If you ignore the fact that their names are Beat and Melody, it's fun, it's cute, and honestly, I think they had great chemistry. You could tell that they just clicked in a way that was very unique to them, and it was very deep. It didn't feel it wasn't surface level. It was very deep, their connection that they had. So it actually felt like they were right for each other and like they were like made for each other. So I like that. They had a really good connection that wasn't just physical, even though obviously both of them wanted to jump each other's bones. But yeah, we're basically in the Christmas section, if you couldn't tell by the last 2. The next one I read was Love Like Farms by B.K. Borison. This one I also rated 4 stars, but I think I enjoyed it more than Wreck the Halls because this was so Christmassy. It was so cute. I loved it. I loved Luca. He was iconic, honestly. He was adorable. Very helpful. Loved that man. Very excited to continue with the series. In the Weeds, I'm very excited for Beckett and Evelyn's story. So I am going to be reading that in the new year at some point. But yeah, it was just very cute. This one felt properly Christmassy. Window Shopping was quite Christmassy. Wreck the Halls, I feel like there wasn't much Christmas in it, to be honest. It was like just a romance set at Christmas. But this one was very much like, again, this one also is a romance set at Christmas, but I think the fact that she runs a Christmas tree farm just made it like super Christmassy and great. So yeah, I do really recommend this. And the writing was really good, the spice was good. Yes, I'm excited to continue with this series. Okay, that's the end of the physical books that I have read. I then read 2 books on Kindle. So on Christmas Day, I finished on Boxing Day, but I started on Christmas Day. I read 90% of it on Christmas Day, and the final 10% of the next day. I read Big Nick Energy. I forget who it's by. I will put a photo here. This one I really loved. I read it because I've heard so many people talking about it. Mostly, I think Larry really loved the book, and Heather also, I think, really enjoyed the book, but Larry was really loud about how much she loved this book. I was not expecting to be as emotional as I would be at this book. It was fully making me tear up at some points, especially towards the end. Nick was just a beautiful man. He was a beautiful soul. When I say he's a beautiful man, obviously he's meant to be this big, gorgeous man, but I mean like his heart, his soul, he was just beautiful on the inside. He was such a caretaker. He just wanted the best for these girls, and he was like just beautiful. Honestly, beautiful. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was so fun. It was so Christmassy, so cute. I literally was just like speeding through it. It was so quick and easy to read. But like I say, it actually had that emotional depth. It wasn't just like smut, like I first thought it was gonna be. I saw the original cover and I was like, oh, this is giving like it's just like a erotica type of book. But obviously the cover's changed recently, and I didn't realize it's the same person who wrote The Fall of Bradley something, and like 'Tis the Season for Revenge, which are books I wanted to read anyway. And when I opened Big Nick Energy, I was like, oh, hang on a minute, like on Kindle, I was like, oh, this is not the first book in the series. But I'm confused because on Kindle it says 'Tis the Season for Revenge, Cruel Summer, The Fall of Bradley someone, and then the next book that's coming out this year. But it doesn't mention this book. I think it's technically just a spin-off of the first book. So I was like, do I read that one? And I went with reading Big Nick Energy because I was just very excited for it. But I will get round to reading 'Tis the Season for Revenge because I love Legally Blonde. So I want to read that, obviously. And also I want to read the rest of the series. So yeah, Big Nick Energy, I rated 4.5 stars because I loved that book. It was like, again, it was a romance set at Christmas. It was very Christmassy because obviously the whole Elf on the Shelf thing is a massive theme through the book. But it felt like it was like a proper romance book set at Christmas, not just like a random fluffy Christmas read, you know? And then finally, this morning, I read very quickly. Tessa Bailey has been my woman this month, apparently. I read her novella that came out just this month called Same Time Next Year. So it was a novella. I haven't rated it because I don't rate novellas because it's hard to. It's obviously very short. So it's not a cheat. I read Court of Frost and Starlight, and that counted as a novella, and that I counted on my list. So yeah, I just wanted to not be stressed about getting the 100th book done. So I read that one this morning, but I did enjoy it. It was fun. It's set at New Year's, so I thought with it being after Christmas, it's just before New Year's, so it's a good sort of time to read that one. And yeah, it was fun. It wasn't very serious. The spice was good, if not slightly. There is a certain genre of spice that Tessa Bailey seems to own her, like there's a Tessa Bailey genre of spice, and I think if you read more than one Tessa Bailey book you understand what I mean. So that's the 9 books I read in December. I have read 100 books for the full year. There will be a video, it might have actually already be up, about all the books I've read this year and like a wrap up of everything I've read. I cannot believe I've read 100 books. I think that's insane. Because like I say, before this I was only reading like fan fiction, and I've not really read any fan fiction this year. I haven't had time. I've had all of these to read. And I'm very proud of myself for doing that. The goal started as being 23 books, and then it went to 50, and then I thought, fuck it, let's do 100. And I didn't think I'd manage to make it, but I did. So I'm very proud of myself. I've really enjoyed this year and how much I've read. I've read so many good books. And yeah, there'll be another video that goes into depth on that. But yeah, looking forward to next year and what books I will read, and yeah. So I'm gonna go. I hope you enjoyed. Give the video a thumbs up if you did. Subscribe down below. Let me know in the comment section what you read last month, this month, in December, whatever you want to call it. And I will see you in the next video.